episode of Hypnotist Bernie's Exposition. We don't have a guest tonight, so this is going to be another session where I look into the camera and I will be hypnotizing the city of Cambridge. Well, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Bernie and I'm a hypnotist. And as you can see down on the screen right there, this is what I do. So it's a lot easier to explain what I am, and for people who are just joining or just tuning in to the show, they can see the word hypnotist down there, and they will see what the show is about. So what we usually do is, well, usually when we have a guest here, I would be offering my help to my guest for some life challenging issues. In the past, guests has come on and they have talked about their stress. They've talked about their bad habits. They've talked about some difficulty they have in life or things that they want to improve in their life. You know, there are a lot of times they have people who are about to go on job interview, and they find themselves being anxious, or in the past that they have difficulties. The reason why I stutter a lot is that I try to avoid using clinical terms on the airwaves, just so well, it's like a professional ethical thing, just so it doesn't sound like this is a diagnosis that I make on air. But tonight we don't have a guest, and what I usually do is I'm going to look into the camera and hypnotize the city of Cambridge, usually for a certain particular issues. And tonight's theme, I would like to talk about breast cancer. I know Breast Cancer Month was last month, but this really hit home this week around. For those of you who have been joining me for a little while and who have been following the show, you may remember that a few weeks ago we had a special session dedicated to breast cancer. It was more than just Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is why I'm wearing my pink tie, and that was the reason why I was wearing my pink tie. A good friend of mine was diagnosed with breast cancer. Her name was Anne-Marie, and I wanted to dedicate that show to her, who was battling cancer at the time. And this came as a shock to me too. I just found out last week that she had succumbed to her illness and passed away. And it was kind of a shocker, because from her diagnosis to her, finally succumb to her illness, it was a period spanning, I think, less than 18 months. It was less than a year and a half. When people tell you they have cancer, you feel sorry for them. You try to do everything you can to help them in the recovery, and you say all the positive things, and you mean it so much that you never actually think that they're going to die. That's what kind of hits me. I didn't even know she was. She lives in a city far, far away. We will only be able to we have been keeping in touch via Facebook. We have been friends for at least 10 years. I think close to 15, 20 years. She's like our age. She's really young, and yeah. So that part hits home, right? And we always think that, we read about the cure for cancer, we heard about the advancement made in cancer, and she was being treated in one of the top hospitals in the world who statistically speaking, have a very high survival rate. And you think of all these advancements in cancer research and all this new treatment being developed, and also shame on me for having all this education and giving all this talk in hospitals and citing all this research in my lectures and and going on to debate and in scholarly forum to discuss holistic healing with cancer patients. After all that I have done, and after all that all my friends have done, and after all that I was taught, and all my friends were taught how to work in this field, and after all that was said and done, I couldn't help a friend of mine to live past her 30s. So it was kind of a shocker, and it was that day, and it was kind of shocking too, because I found this out on Facebook. It was her birthday 2 weeks ago, and it was like week and a half ago, and I wrote her on her Facebook wall, wishing her a happy birthday, not thinking too much about it. Well, these days in Facebook, you can post a birthday message before actually seeing the profile, right? And I was on a hurry. I wrote this on her wall, and a few minutes later, I got a message back from her boyfriend, telling me that thank you for wishing Anne Marie a happy birthday, but unfortunately she just died like 2 days ago. And what do you say to that, right? First of all, there are a few things that really bothers me, because she just missed her birthday by 2 days, or it would have been she missed all her well wishes and all her well wishers on not just social media, but in real life. As far as I know, well, these days people post memorial services on social media, at least have to sign in, and people share the memory on social media. And from what I was seeing is that her friends and her family, and if I were in Toronto, okay, so give it away, I was in Toronto. It was out in Toronto at the time. I would have participated in those festivities. The cakes were ordered. There was actually they booked a banquet hall for her and stuff like that. And so we missed that. And what really bothers me is that the show we made 2 weeks ago, or I mean like last month, about breast cancer, which was dedicated to her. I posted online, but I kind of procrastinated, messaging her and sending her the link, right? And I thought, well, I wasn't really thinking, but like my logic is that I can just send it to her tomorrow, and tomorrow never came for her. So I guess the lesson here is life is short. Like I said earlier, I'm not sure if I said it online or if I have said it to my friends. From the time she was diagnosed with cancer to the time she finally succumbed to her illness, it was less than a span of 18 months, right? And she went through an aggressive chemo treatment, which has been a toll on her health and her body. And after a year or so, I think she have told me, and I haven't read the official documents from her hospital or from her doctors, right? But she told me in private messages that it seems like it seems like the cancer is out of her body, and the doctors were able to conclude her radio treatment, and she was out of the hospital, and she was getting ready to have a life and vacation, right? And just a few weeks later, she wrote me and she said, the cancer came back and there's nothing she could do. I remember distinctly she wrote, well, I'm gonna die. Like, that's actually quote unquote, that's what she said. Like, you know, I understand what it means, but it also never really connected to me that that's what she meant. At the time, you know, I was more delusional than her, that I believe that, you know, well, we're all going to die eventually, but like, I don't think she was actually going to die, right? She was pretty healthy. She sounded pretty healthy. She seems pretty optimistic. And we were able to have conversations just like the diagnosis never happened. I guess I feel really bad right now because you know, there was so much more that I wish I could have done. Maybe not as a clinician. I'm not sure if there's anything else I could have done there, but like, I always thought that maybe I could make a little bit more money, and she said her money situation was kind of tight, right? I thought I wanted to send her on a vacation or something, and or you know, or go back to Toronto and see her and hang out, just like the way we used to when we were in high school, you know, and you know, that opportunity never comes along, and it would never happen, even though, you know, I wasn't doing too bad financially, and but at the time I was thinking maybe, you know, I could invest in something and it could come back, and then I could use that money to help out my friends. So I guess like we have learned a lesson in life here, right? Well, first of all, if you are a lady or if you have a spouse or a girlfriend, make sure that they do their checkups for breast cancer, feel themselves for lumps. I'm not going to talk about how to do that here, but the literature is very much available if you were to look online, right? And if you haven't already done so, do it now. Get the resources immediately, and get yourself checked out for breast cancer. Or even if you're a man, you know, someone told me that there's a small percentage of men also get breast cancer, and seeing how aggressive it is firsthand, right? Well, I have actually had a lot more friends who had cancer and they have beaten it, but they are not. It's not breast cancer. So I have really underestimated how aggressive the whole thing came about. And for my friend, right? Other than, if it wasn't for the chemo treatment, she was perfect. She looked perfectly fine. I'm sure she feels sick from time to time, but like she was able to. She have a clear mind. She was able to talk. She was able to go outside. She was able to do a lot of things that you and I are able to do. So, you know, if it wasn't for the diagnosis, she may or may not even know that she has cancer. So, I got a deeper appreciation for Breast Cancer Month, where the entire country raises awareness so that people could check themselves up for breast cancer. And once again, if you're watching this show right now, I urge you to do whatever it is that it takes to get yourself checked out for breast cancer. Well, having said that, right, I'm sorry to start the show off in a kind of depressing note. But it kind of did send a message. If anything positive can come out of this, is that you know, life is short. You know, just 2 days ago, I also found out that an old friend of mine is actually dead. She was also our age, and she apparently died of a drug overdose on her first time experimenting recreational drugs out of the country. She was in South America at the time. And I just found out today, also wishing her a happy birthday, unbeknownst to me, that she has already been gone for a few years. So, life is short. You never know how long you have left on this earth. You never know how long the people you love is going to be on this earth. Not to sound depressing, right? But to live every day like it is the last day of your life is not a bad advice, In these cases, facing diagnosis or facing these kind of adversities, every other problems that you're facing right now seems trivial, doesn't it? I've always been told, and my parents have told me, and for those of you who know me well know that I'm Catholic, and the priest always tells you that you can't take any money into your grave. Well, you can, but if you're dead, you can't spend your money, and all of a sudden, no matter how much debt you're in, no matter how mediocre paying your job is, no matter how much problem you're in with your money, or it all seems trivial. You can't use your money when you're dead. All this, quarrels with your friends, all those fights you have with the people you love or you may not like, all this seems trivial when you're gone, right? None of this really matters. And I was thinking about this too. A good friend of mine whose name I shall not mention. He is a extremely intelligent guy. He went to an Ivy League school whose name we shall not mention. It's not, it doesn't start with an H. Just kidding. We all know where that Ivy League school is. It's all the credentials in the world. Ambitious, aggressive, extremely intelligent, straight A, multiple degrees from multiple colleges and universities in or around the world. But he doesn't seem to get it that he's like our age, right? And of course future is still extremely bright for him. But he doesn't seem to understand that every time I ask him, he's always spending more time preparing for what he wants to do. And not to get personal and not to put his personal life on TV, right? He's always doing more things to prepare himself without actually doing the things that he wanted to do. And the things that he actually want to do, I don't want to get under his skin or anything, but it requires a lot of brain power, but it doesn't require a lot of education. And I guess according to tonight's theme, right? I'm sure he's not watching this because he's not a resident in Cambridge at this moment, and but I guess for him and I'm sure a lot of us watching this video right now could understand this as well, right? We are all, if you're in Cambridge and if you are in the Boston area, chances is that you have pay your dues in academia. And the good thing about academia is that it prepares you for life. It prepares you for a job, but don't get fallen into the trap that believing that academia is the world and you prepare yourself so much that you forgot the real world is, Well, my point is, life is short. if there's something you want to do, and if you're watching this right now, you're an intelligent person. If you're watching this right now, you are a self-aware person that wants to push yourself to the limits and do more than what you have right now in a good way, right? Do it now, because tomorrow is not promised to you. It's not promised to me. And tomorrow is not promised to the people that you want to love. And tomorrow is not promised to the people that you want to do things for. You know, anything could happen. Tragedy could happen tomorrow. I don't want to put yourself in a doom and gloom kind of mood, right? But tragedy could happen tomorrow, and all of a sudden you are crossing off things that, and not in a good way, you're crossing off things that you wish you would do, because the minute that you're diagnosed with something like that, you realize that everything else that you planned it for doesn't work anymore. Well, okay, so let's do hypnosis, right? We only have about 8 more minutes, which is perfectly fine. We'll do some very light hypnosis. It kind of feels like a meditation session, where you can just focus on releasing all the negativity that you may have been holding on. Now, I know this is Thanksgiving weekend, and we have some, if you're watching this, putting today in a time capsule. Last night in Ferguson, the grand jury chose not to indict the police officer that shot and killed a young African American teen. And all this add to the stress of our nation, and it's been talk of the town today. So we can do a little bit of stress relief session and to release some of the negativity that we have been holding on, okay? I want you to sit back, relax, and take a deep breath in. Now I want you to focus on a spot in front of you. It could be on the television set, or it could be on the floor, it could be on the ceiling. But I want you to just focus all your attention on that spot. Just one singular spot, and just focus all your attention on it. Now, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I used to do this exercise where I stare at the edge of the pencil. At the time, I was thinking that if a sharpness of a pencil is based on the very fine point at the edge, and by staring at the edge of the pencil, I was able to sharpen my mind. And by doing this exercise, you're staring at that spot right now, and you're also sharpening your mind, consciously and unconsciously. I want you to stare at that spot for as long as you can, but the next time you find yourself blinking so heavily that you find your eyelid kind of stuck together, next time when that happens, I just want you to close your eyes and let your mind drift. That's right. Now I want you to imagine your body becoming as heavy as you can. Feel your entire limbs, your fingers, your toes, your knees, your back, your neck. And if you're resting your head on a cushion, you can just imagine your head is also getting extremely heavy. So heavy that you find yourself just sinking into the softness of the chair of your back. That's right. And as you do, you find yourself melting into the fabric of time and space. And as you find yourself becoming one with the continuity of time and space, I want you to focus on all the energy on the points between your heart and your lung. And just feel that this ball of energy becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. This ball of energy is wiping away all the negativity. It's cleansing out all the negative emotions. It is cleansing out all that you're holding on to but doesn't need to hold on to anymore. Just let this energy expand and just cleanse out all those emotions and thoughts and habits that you no longer serve you anymore. Let us just that cleanse it out and let this ball of energy just continue to expand and pushing all the negativity out on the edges of the universe. And continue to feel yourself becoming one with the universe. Find yourself becoming one with the earth and all the life forces in the world. And find yourself becoming one with all the pure emotions and pure humanity that you have, with all the confidence, joy, delights, and optimism that makes you more alive every day in every way. Take another deep breath in, knowing that you can always come back to this mental state whenever you want. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. You can come back to this room feeling great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a deep breath in and let it out. This is Hypnotist Bernie